There was once a company that lived under the oppression of giant publishing studios. As a result, they were unable to produce the simulator that they dreamed of producing. Then one day, in a last attempt to fight back at the machine that had previously rejected them, someone came up with the idea of using crowdfunding to help produce the game that the company had always wanted to produce. For years, the company worked hard, publicly releasing build upon build of the game, yet some community members remained disappointed and skeptical as to if the game would ever become a fully fledged driving simulator, and not just another woeful driving game designed to capitalise on the popularity of well-known sports car models.
Well, stand on a train track and jump out the way before the train hits you, because Project Cars finally has a car in it that's enjoyable to drive. And this is important because when you've got one car that works, you can expect more cars that work. As you can see from this video, I'm beasting it around Imola in the aerial atom. Ever since WMD started and Project Cars was accessible to people, I've been jumping on it, trying different cars, flicking through the different tyre types and seeing if there's anything that was appealing to me. And in the past, generally I'd go away feeling somewhat underwhelmed. The sounds would be really nice, the graphics would be really nice, and the car models and everything else would be really nice, but the physics just weren't doing it for me in any of the vehicles that I tried. Now, for some reason I hadn't tried the aerial atom for a while, and I thought, you know what, I haven't tried it, so I'll give it a go. Jump in, and lo and behold, we have a car that's a solid sim car. Now, it might not line up to the real aerial atom one-to-one, but to be honest, I don't really care about that because I'm not going to drive the real aerial atom. The key fundamental crucial aspect that's important is that the car handles as you would generally expect a car to handle, in that it's fairly dynamic, it has a little bit of controllable slip angle to it, it moves into corners, it has all the movements and responds to the driver input as you would expect of a real physical car. Now, I haven't put a proper amount of time into this car to give a full evaluation of it, so in this video I'm only really talking about the fundamental overall dynamics of how the car is moving. From the player's perspective, it's always going to take hours of driving before you're fully aware of all the subtle aspects of the physics. Crucially though, before you put all those hours into the car and discover all its subtle nuances, the car has to be enjoyable at a basic level, and that's where we're at with the aerial atoms in Project Cars. In the lap I just completed, you could see that I was generally trying to drive fast. I wasn't purposely skidding the car everywhere, though I was missing brake points and I was making a bit of a dog's dinner out of it. After doing a couple of clean laps, which I have to say was really quite enjoyable as it's got all the dynamics there you'd expect of a car, I decided to put the car to the test by driving it like a complete lunatic. Now, obviously driving like a lunatic isn't always the best way to test a simulator. Sometimes you have simulated cars that drive really well under the limit, just around the limit, or just drive really well in general, but then have specific holes in them that you don't tend to notice when you're actually racing. But all in all, I generally find if you have a sim car that allows you to absolutely take the biscuit with it, and you can still control it, but it does kick you in the arse if you take too much of the piss with it, you're gonna have a vehicle that's fun to drive. As you can see from the video, I'm having to be really fast to recover the car. It's not like you can just throw the car into a slide and it'll la-di-da pull itself back. You actually have to manhandle the car if you're going to push it over the limit. The way the car responds to the steering input, accelerator and brake in these situations is really engaging. And when you actually nail a corner properly whilst in a drift and getting the car to point exactly where you want it after a bit of practice, it's really rewarding. Obviously, if you're racing, you're not going to be in these sort of situations unless you've done something really wrong. But the fact is, sometimes in a race things do go really wrong, and then the game shouldn't just kick you in the balls and say game over. You should be able to fall back on fundamental car handling skills to keep yourself going at the cost of your tyres and time. And with this car, that's definitely the case of what happens. Having now seen the potential of what the cars could end up like in Project Cars with this aerial atom, I just can't wait to try more cars that have a different profile to them. In real life, the aerial atom is quite known for being agile and a little bit slippy depending on the setup and the tyres and the way it's driven. But it'll be really interesting to see when they get the GT cars further developed or the single-seaters further developed, and if they can get them feeling as consistent through the ranges of speed and different slides as what they've got with this aerial atom, but with each car's fundamental characteristics. it has to be said I'm now truly excited about the potential of Project Cars. It does appear as if all the planets, stars and secret wormholes have aligned for us to all of a sudden have a set of course a multiplayer, a bunch of iRacing cars that are incredibly enjoyable to drive, and finally something really polished and tangible with Project Cars that demonstrates it's likely that Project Cars is going to be a game we're going to be playing for a good few years to come. Project Cars is very much still in development and there's still a lot of things that are going to improve on it. As I say, I can't wait to try more of the other vehicles as the game becomes closer to release. So for those of you like me that were sceptical and needed to have something in their hands that demonstrated the potential of Project Cars before they started spouting off and going crazy about it, load up the game, try the Aerial Atom, and you might be pleasantly surprised. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, click the like button. If you've not, subscribe to my channel for more videos. And if you didn't like it, shout abuse in the comments, but make sure you say why you didn't like it so I can try and improve future videos.